search and write and my child would need something, our roommate, his brother, would come in and want to chat, and he would come in and ask if I had any plans for supper. I continuously reminded him I needed him to manage the house for just a couple hours a day so I could work on my thesis, but the cycle would just repeat. It got so bad that I stopped working on my research at home and stayed late at a friend's house or at a coffee shop. Later that year he deployed Air Force, and it took me about a month into the deployment to realize I was less stressed with him gone. I was losing weight because I wasn't stress eating, and more importantly I didn't miss him. Once I realized I didn't miss him, I also realized I didn't want to be married to him anymore. I spent the rest of his deployment thinking and weighing my options and trying to figure out what I was going to do. The day he came back, I had a panic attack before picking him up. I decided that I would see how things played out after he got back before I made any decisions. About 2 weeks after he got back, our gas line got cut by people laying fiber internet cables. It's October. I'm in the middle of vendor season and have back-to-back fairs, festivals, and ceremonies to go to advertise the museum. He was on a month of post-deployment leave and had already gone back to playing on his computer 24/7. I told him he needed to take care of the gas situation because I did not have time to do it. He told me he would, but every day after I would come home late and ask if he had taken care of the gas, he'd be like, "Oh, I forgot." Finally, almost a week after the lines got cut, which means we haven't had hot water for a week, and him continuing to forget, I called the gas company and then left work early to meet the tech. It took a 20-minute phone call and maybe a 10 minutes for the tech, and we had gas back on. I know you might be thinking, well, if it was that easy, why didn't you do it? I was at work, he was home on leave doing absolutely nothing but playing on his computer. He should have been able to take care of it. Later that night, he asked if I was okay and I exploded. I told him I wasn't happy and that I was considering a divorce because I was done begging him to be an equal partner in our marriage and life. The part that hurt the most but also cemented my decision was when I told our child. 11 at this point. He said, "Mom, I'm sad but I'm not surprised. All Dad does is play on his computer." I moved out January 2023, bought a house in April and moved in with my kid and I. I love living on my own. Love having a whole house mostly to myself. When we first moved in, I was worried about being a single mom, but even though there are hard days and I hate being basically broke, every paycheck it's worth it. My child was a recluse when we lived with his dad. He didn't like being affectionate, didn't like hugs, or being touched in general. Took about 3 months of US living in the new house, but he's a completely different kid. He regularly seeks out affection and loves giving and receiving hugs. He helps around the house, does chores without me asking, and has just really been allowed to bloom into an amazing kid. I'm so proud of him. I never want to get married again. We are in the process of divorce, and once this is all over, I'll never do it again. My peace of mind is too important to me. I love having my space to myself too much and not having to clean up after a grown man child. I have been on one date and I had a panic attack afterwards because I kept thinking it's too soon. I'm not ready, and honestly, I don't know if I'll ever be ready. I dated the first man I met, and I think a part of me is always going to be afraid of making the same mistakes and jumping into a relationship. All of that aside, I am enjoying being single too much to give it up anytime soon. This whole thing has made me work on myself. I am no longer a doormat or people pleaser. I have become very vocal about my boundaries and what I'm willing to put up with, and most importantly, I'm no longer afraid of being alone or no one wanting me.